Hi guys, welcome back to our channel Impartial History. Today the video is one of the controversial video and also which require a deep history knowledge. We are talking about the personality who was played prominent role in Indian history, none other than Tipu Sultan, who was the king of Mysore. Let's get into the video. Before going to the video, let me clarify about history and historiography. History was nothing but simply reading what happened in the past, how it has happened, and when it has happened. But has historiography involved multiple perspectives like why it happens, is it inevitable at the time? So, like this, it involves multiple perspectives which require deep knowledge. So, I think you understand history and historiography. When it's about Tipu Sultan, some people think he was barbaric and great religious bigot. For some, he was great Islamic ruler who upheld the Islam. For some, he was anti-colonial. For some, he was modern intellect. But our channel does not stick to one perspective. Impartial history deals with unbiased historiography, where it covers all angles and perspectives. So let's start the video. Before knowing about his personality, I'll give a small introduction about Tipu Sultan. Tipu was a ruler of Mysore kingdom in the time of 1782 to 1799. He and his father Hyder Ali involved in a wars against British East India Company. Nearly four Anglo-Mysore wars were taken up in history between English and Tipu Sultan and his father Hyder Ali. However, Mysore went into hands of British after Tipu's defeat and death. In Fourth Anglo-Mysore War, British controlled Mysore completely. That's it. I think this is background is enough for your understanding who is Tipu, and let's get into his personality historiography. See, in the case of Anglo-Mysore Wars, all were agreed to single view that Mysore fought against English. However, it get defeated. But there is no opposite view to this. But when come to his personality, a Tipu Sultan personal affairs, there are bunch of views revolving around him. Let's check views and get into clarity. After Carnatic Wars, regions around Madras was came into hands of English. And now they dreamed for big. Now they want to expand their influence over Mysore. But two people standing against their dreams. They given tough competition. They were Hyder Ali and his son Tipu Sultan. However, after Hyder's death, Tipu take up the war. Of course, we all know that English won in the war, but not at less cost. Mysore challenged English. For a while, English dreams are collapsed. Tipu prepared great strategies against English. He wanted to unite all Indian kingdoms. He not only stopped there, he entered the game of geopolitics. He maintained close relationships with the French, who have given great competition to the English in Europe. He innovated his army, set up weapon factories, modernized his weapons. He also maintained contact with the Turks and Afghans. These are all actions against the British, which were done by Tipu Sultan, caused a great anger among English. And these angers turns into colonial records and writings. So clearly, in the history of colonial perspective, they portrayed Tipu Sultan as barbaric ruler, a religious bigot, and dangerous to secularism. He was labeled as Antichrist in Christian missionaries and literature. This is not only colonial view. There are some people at present who are generally non-Muslims who surprisingly criticized that English written Indian history as false, but they both comes under same tree when the topic is about Tipu Sultan, because that people are seeing only religious perspective as he was a Muslim ruler. But there are some nationalist historians who born against colonial historiography, which portrayed India is uncivilized. So these national historians rewritten the history and they revealed India's glory. These historians in 20th century re-evaluated Tipu Sultan. They labeled that Tipu as a great hero of India. He wanted to unite all native powers to throw away the British. In fact, he was in condition of winning the war, but there came a cunning strategy of British. They betrayed Tipu Sultan. Some authors like Bhagavan Gidwan in his book The Sword of Tipu Sultan championed him as a noble and daring hero. But we should consider that they ignored Tipu's negative aspects. In this way, the colonial view and nationalistic views were completely opposite to each other. On one hand, colonial history present negative aspects of Tipu Sultan, while on the other hand, nationalistics described him as hero of India. So these two views are one side, and there is also another view, that is religion view. Some people, especially Muslims, treated him as champion of Islam and greatest Islamic king, while non-Muslims treated him as a religious bigot simply. See, these three views are generally leaning to only one perspective. One view was negative, one view was positive. So, but this time there came a modern view. This is some decent view because it is concentrated both positives and negatives of Tipu Sultan generally. This type of historians mentioned that Tipu Sultan was an innovative ruler who introduced administrative reforms, modernized military, promoted economic development. But they also criticized for something what Tipu has done. See, they criticized him for forceful conversions, massacre of Hindu and Christian communities in Coorg and Mangalore. So, at least this view was decent, I think. So, these are all views about Tipu Sultan. But I think these views, these perspectives are not in satisfying nature. So, we should go into further depth. He greatly opposed English imperialism. He tried for unity of native powers against West until his last breath. But no use. He contacted Afghans, Turks, and also maintained a great relation with French. In fact, he wrote letters to the Napoleon to attack English. But these letters are not reached to Napoleon. English bypassed them and taken away. He established weapon factories and make advanced weapons. At the time, none of the native powers think like this. So, in this way, he was great innovator. He introduced rocket launchers and advanced cavalry. He was greatly influenced by Jacobin ideas and calling himself as planting tree of liberty at Srirangapatnam. So, like this, he fought until his last breath against English imperialism. Tipu Sultan not only concentrated on the war but also economy. He modernized agriculture. He also take great initiative that he removed middlemen who were exploiting farmers, maintained strict law and order. Financial support to farmers, irrigation and infrastructure development was done by him. He subjugated polygars who act as mini kings and exploit the farmers and used army to suppress robbers. Thomas Munro, a British official, praised Tipu for his administration. He noted that Tipu had established a simple and despotic but highly efficient system that directly reached peasantry bypassing middlemen. And another British general, George Harris, after Tipu Sultan died, he said that finally now India is ours. So he considering Tipu as main barrier to the English expansion. But some dark about him is that massacres in Coorg, Mangalore, and Malabar. He committed a great genocide at Coorg. Nearly 70 to 90,000 unarmed people were massacred. Forcefully converted nearly 4 lakh Hindus, specially targeted Nair community in Malabar. 60 to 80,000 Mangalorean Catholics forcefully taken away to Srirangapatnam. The personal letter of Tipu Sultan, which was wrote himself to his general Burdus Juman Khan, reveals that Tipu is praising himself as he achieved great victory, that he converted 4 lakh Hindus to Islam. These are all events happened that indicate Tipu Sultan as religious bigot. But there are some debates on this that 4 lakhs Hindus is an exaggeration, and some argue that he taken away Catholics because they were helping to British secretly. But there are these type of arguments and some evidences to this. Some historians highlight his relationship with Sringeri Mutt and portrayed him as secular king. So in history, there is a great relationship between Mysore and Sringeri Mutt. Sringeri Mutt was one of the prominent mattas among 4 main mattas of Adi Shankaracharya. Hyder Ali greatly respected Sri Sachidananda Bharati I. Bharati I means generally there are some kings names like Vikramaditya 1, 2, 3 in the same perspective. Sri Sachidananda Bharati I was Guru of that Mutt. He was first Guru who greatly interacted with Hyder Ali. When he visited Pune, Hyder Ali sent an official escort to him, including elephants, horses, soldiers, and also he provided travel expenses. He also grant tax-free land grants to next Guru Narasimha Bharati VII. In this way, it is clearly indicating that Hyder Ali was secular. And even that, later his death, Tipu continued his father's respect. Tipu Sultan maintained a deep correspondence with Sachidananda Bharati III. He nearly wrote 30 plus letters to Guru respectfully. He always inspired from Guru and Guru's simple living. But in history, there is one major incident taken place in 1791. Marathas, who are generally considered protectors of Hindu Dharma, attacked Sringeri Mutt and devastated the temple and devastated the idol, also the town, damaged the shrine of Sringeri. But Tipu take action to restore Sringeri Mutt. He provided funds for reconstruction of idol. He provided funds for rehabilitation of monks. This is 100% true because Sringeri Mutt mentioned this support done by the Tipu Sultan. So if anyone have interested to check it clearly, they can check in Sringeri Mutt website about Hyder Ali and Tipu Sultan. They mentioned both kings' relations. So these are views around Tipu Sultan which are some positives, some negatives. So, what to believe? For this, we need to understand one more view, that is my view, a view of impartial history. So, let's talk about my view. So, in my view, it is difficult to understand a person based on past because there are many angles of history. Some accounts are biased, some are exaggerated, some are favor, some are unfavor, some always concentrate on negatives. So we cannot simply understand the picture. Same case in Tipu Sultan. Despite these many views, there are our great personalities in modern India who are talked about Tipu Sultan. So first of all, let's know them. Okay, Gandhi, the father of nation. Gandhi praised Tipu Sultan in his journal Young India as a symbol of Hindu Muslim unity. He rejected the colonial perspective. This is the view of Gandhi about our Tipu Sultan.
After Gandhi, there came a view of Nehru. In his book, The Discovery of India, Nehru described Hyder Ali and Tipu Sultan as great opponents of British, who nearly broken the power of East India Company. And he also viewed Tipu as modernizer, who understand the technological, political challenges that were posed by West. And next, where V.D. Savarkar praised Tipu Sultan for opposing British, and the same way he criticized him for his religious activities. Here come Subhash Chandra Bose, one of the favorite freedom fighter to all. Subhash Chandra Bose considered Tipu Sultan as first freedom fighter of India. Generally, these kingdoms maintain a flag. In the same way, Tipu Sultan flag contains symbol of springing tiger, and this symbol of springing tiger was adopted by the Subhash Chandra Bose. He kept this symbol in the flag of Azad Hind Fauj, generally called as Indian National Army. And in 1943, proclamation of provincial government of Azad Hind, Bose listed Tipu Sultan among whose names are inscribed in golden letters for their selfless sacrifices against English imperialism. Some modern historians link ideas of Tipu Sultan and B.R. Ambedkar. Tipu Sultan abolished middlemen and make actual tillers as owners. Even sometimes the actual tillers are from low caste, he encouraged to become them as owners. In this way, he was slightly encouraged low caste people. He abolished breast tax and other caste based indignities in Malabar. And the missile man of India, APJ Abdul Kalam, admired Tipu Sultan and considered his innovation and recognized him as pioneer of rocket technology. Like this way, generally most of our freedom fighters opined him as good. So, in my view, first of all, we should leave all our religious, caste, regional identities while reading history. Simply, we cannot come to conception. In history, it is difficult to understand a personality. Again, I am saying that. Same with Tipu Sultan. But when we came to conclusion, in my view, based on his time, his position, definitely he was great man and he was great hero of India ever produced. Being this greatness, he contained his own some negatives. That's it for today, guys. I'm expecting that I delivered impartial information. So thanks for watching. Please subscribe.